Hi guys, it's Amy and I'm here today to talk about the Bookbusters Readathon, which is being hosted by Elena from Elena Reads Books, and it's running from the 30th of September for a week, and there's a theme to it, so I will put the links down to Elena's channel and also the image on her Instagram which shows kind of the grid and what routes you can take in this readathon. So the idea is it's based on the old TV show, which is where you have to get from one side of the board to the other following kind of a logical step route, and each of those different steps on the grid signifies a different quest or challenge within the readathon. So it was quite interesting because I had looked at kind of the books I have and also the grid that she's given, which is really interesting kind of challenges or rules in which you read by, and I found it quite hard actually trying to fit a lot of my books into it, so I had to kind of manipulate and go back and forth and really think about it. But it's a really interesting way to look at your TBR and just kind of take stock of what you have and what maybe you're missing. So I realised I didn't have many female protagonists in my TBR, which I would like to rectify in the future. Okay, let's get to it. What books will I be reading for the week, which will commence on the 30th, which is tomorrow, I believe. Hopefully, yeah. So, one sec. I'm just looking at her Instagram post for help, and the first one I'm going to do is a translated piece. So I'm going to read Philip Springer's The Story of a Forgotten Polish Town. Sorry, let me say that right. Philip Springer's History of a Disappearance, The Story of a Forgotten Polish Town. So this was translated from the Polish by Sean Gasperby. This is all about the history of one town named Kupferberg in Poland, and it just charts its history through many kind of back and forth between different nations who claimed its ownership, and then its disappearance from history in the 20th century, I believe. So I've been really looking forward to reading this one, so this is a great opportunity to read it, and I think this will be the first one I'll tackle in the challenge as well, because you can, Elena says you can read them in any order you want, and I think I'm going to start with this one for my readathon. From there I go on to a book with a female main character, and I think one of the only ones I had, and which is quite slight, which is quite nice, is Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse. This I don't know too much about, as I talked about in my other videos. I don't really know much about books before I read them or purchase them. I kind of go off what I feel like reading and kind of recommendations I've had. But it's based on the Isle of Skye, which is somewhere I holiday a lot, and I live in Scotland, so this would be really good. I also have read a couple of Virginia Woolf novels so far, so it'd be nice to this to be the third one that I get off my TBR. So there's that one. From there I have a person on the cover is the next challenge, and for that one I'm reading Richard Llewellyn's How Green Was My Valley, and this is about a kind of nostalgic look back at a guy's Welsh heritage and history. And I myself come from a Welsh family on my dad's side, and I went there recently for a family funeral, which I talked about in the last video, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if there's anything I kind of relate to as well, because my family are from South Wales, this is where it's based in, so the valleys. So I'm really intrigued to see, you know, any nostalgic feelings that I get from this book and from this author's writing, so super pumped for that one. The penultimate one is Written Before You Were Born, and for this one I've gone with Ernest Hemingway's A Movable Feast. Now I don't know when this was written, it would probably have been around the earlier 20th century, so I can safely say it's before I was born. This is one of many Hemingways I own, and I was meant to read this one when I was studying in Paris a couple of years ago, for the reason that it's based in Paris and it logs his time there. Because a lot of the places he talks about were close to where I stayed. So I would be interested to read this one having lived there, because it'd be nice to kind of explore those memories and kind of revisit those places in my imagination. So yeah, I'm quite excited to read this one now, so there's that one. And the last one is a cover buy, and I don't usually go for cover buys. I want to read the book because I want to read it, not because of the cover, but I will admit I wanted to read a work by this author, and I chose this book because I like the premise, but I chose this book also, or this edition, because of the cover, so I'm classifying it as cover buy. And it is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's Half of a Yellow Sun, and I believe, I just read the blurb quickly, it's based in 1960s Nigeria, which is going through a civil war, and it's about three lives intersect, which is Ugwu. Okay, if I pronounce these names wrong, please forgive me. Ugwu, Olana, and Richard. So I was looking at reading Americana, her most famous piece of fiction, but this one set in Nigeria kind of, because I think it is mainly set in Nigeria, it spoke to me a bit more. I read, what's that really famous book that's based in Africa at the beginning? I can't remember. Oh, Homegoing by Jassy. Jassy, sorry. I read that last year and really enjoyed it, and I really preferred the stories or the ancestors based in Africa. So I thought, if I'm going to read a similar kind of story, I think I want to start with Adichie in a more African setting, as it were. So there's that one. So as I said with a previous readathon I've done, I do not think I'll be able to read these in a week, but what I'll do is I will definitely read these. I'm quite excited to read all of them, so I'll try and read as many in a week, and I will report back, but I will continue to read these in the month of October, as well as some other ones I've got up there to do in a next video about what I will read in the coming month. So until next time, and until I report back with how the reading went for next week, I will see you guys around. Bye.